1. You can't control everything, but you can control how you respond. Some things are up to us, some are not. Epictetus. Life can feel overwhelming. Things happen to us that we don't expect. Plans fall apart, people let us down, the weather ruins a special day, a stranger says something unkind, and in those moments it's easy to feel powerless, as if we are being tossed around by forces we cannot stop. But the Stoics, especially Epictetus, offer us a quiet kind of strength, the clarity to see what truly belongs to us and what never did. Epictetus taught that everything in life can be divided into two simple categories. 1. The things we can control, our thoughts, our decisions, our actions, our character. And 2, the things we cannot control, other people's opinions, the outcomes of our efforts, the passage of time, the behavior of the world around us. This distinction, simple as it sounds, is the foundation of inner peace. When we try to control what we cannot, like changing someone else's mind or predicting what tomorrow will bring, we exhaust ourselves. We become anxious, frustrated, and bitter. But when we focus on what we can control, how we show up, how we speak, how we choose to respond, we reclaim our power. Imagine you're stuck in traffic on an important day. The event is starting without you. You feel the pressure building. But then you pause and remember, the traffic is not up to me. My reaction is, you can choose anger or you can choose calm. You can choose to complain or you can choose to breathe. This is what the Stoics mean by freedom. Not the ability to change the world, but the ability to remain steady in it. It's tempting to believe that happiness comes from fixing everything around us, but that path leads only to exhaustion. The Stoics suggest something wiser. Happiness comes from aligning with reality, by letting go of what you can't control and mastering what you can. This isn't a way to escape life's responsibilities. It's the opposite. It's a way to face life head-on without wasting strength on what lies beyond your reach. The moment you realize your true sphere of control is within, you stop being a victim of the world. You become the author of your experience. Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic, echoed this when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It's not about ignoring what happens outside. It's about choosing how much of it you carry within. Let's be clear. This doesn't mean becoming cold or detached. It means being thoughtful. It means responding with reason, not reacting with chaos. The weather might be bad, but your mood doesn't have to be. Someone might insult you, but your dignity doesn't have to waver. The result may not go your way, but your effort and integrity still belong to you. When you live this way, you begin to see setbacks differently. You start to value your energy more. You stop trying to control people or force outcomes, and instead, you return your attention to what's always been yours: your attitude, your actions, your values. In a world where everything seems uncertain, this is your anchor, the calm center of the storm. The lesson is this: you don't need control over everything to find peace. You only need to focus on the one thing that's truly yours: your response, your choices, your freedom within. 2. Emotions are real, but they don't have to rule you. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Emotions are not enemies. They are part of being human. Fear, sadness, anger, even joy, they arise naturally, like waves in the ocean. But what happens next is up to us. The Stoics never said we should suppress our emotions or pretend they don't exist. Instead, they taught us how to face them with clarity, to feel deeply but not be ruled blindly, to observe without being overwhelmed. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself often that his power was within, not in changing the world, but in governing his own response to it. And this included how he dealt with emotions. The Stoic path is not about coldness, it's about inner steadiness. It's not about silence, but self-mastery. Imagine anger rising in you. You feel it in your chest, your face, your thoughts. The Stoic does not panic, nor does he lash out. He notices the anger, acknowledges it, and asks, where is this coming from? What is it telling me? Do I need to act or simply let it pass? This is the strength the Stoics teach. Not to fight emotions with more force, but to understand them with gentleness and reason. Calmness, in their view, is not a lack of feeling, it's a conscious choice. A trained response, a higher form of power. There's a misconception that Stoics are indifferent. But true Stoicism is not apathy, it's alignment. It's knowing when to act and when to wait. when to speak and when to hold silence. It's knowing that emotions are visitors, not rulers. They knock on the door of your mind, but they don't get to move in without permission. This approach is liberating. When you stop being afraid of your feelings, they stop having power over you. When you listen to them without becoming them, you learn something deeper about yourself. And that's the key. You are not your emotions. You experience them, but they are not your identity. They come and go like weather across a landscape, but you, the one observing, remain. Seneca once said that it is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them, and this includes how we judge our own emotions. If we fear them, we resist them. If we resist them, they grow. But if we allow them to arise and pass with wisdom, they lose their grip. Emotions are signals, not shackles. Let them speak, but don't hand them the steering wheel. The lesson is this: don't fight your emotions, listen to them, but never let them decide who or what you do. That choice belongs to your reason, your clarity, and your deeper self. 3. Everything is temporary, especially the bad days. Time heals what reason cannot. Seneca. There are moments in life that feel endless. A sleepless night filled with anxiety, a long stretch of grief after a loss, a bad day, that day that feels like it will never end. In those moments, it's easy to forget one of the simplest and most powerful truths the Stoics held. Everything is temporary. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher who experienced exile, betrayal, and political chaos, understood the weight of pain. Yet he reminded us that time often does what logic cannot. It softens, transforms, and eventually heals. What today seems unbearable, tomorrow may simply be a story. What now feels like failure, one day becomes a chapter of growth. The Stoics saw life as a river, always moving, always changing. You cannot step into the same stream twice, Marcus Aurelius noted. So too with our lives. Emotions rise and fall, fortunes come and go, people enter and leave. Nothing stays still, not even the pain. And yet, when we're hurting, our minds trick us. They tell us this moment of suffering will last forever, that we'll always feel this lost, this broken, this uncertain. But the Stoics trained themselves and us to challenge this illusion. They knew that just as joy is fleeting, so is sorrow. Just as good times pass, so do the hard ones. When we embrace the truth of impermanence, we find strength in unexpected places. A terrible day loses its grip when we remind ourselves, this too shall pass. A broken heart feels lighter when we understand that all wounds evolve, even if they never fully disappear. Epictetus taught his students to see every event as a passing impression, not something to cling to or be crushed by. If someone insulted you, he said, it's not the words that hurt you, but your interpretation of them. And even that interpretation can change with time. Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself during wars and plagues, often repeated the same message: observe constantly that all things are the result of change. Empires fall, storms clear, wounds scab over, and eventually light returns. This perspective doesn't erase pain. Stoicism never asks us to pretend everything is fine. Rather, it invites us to place pain in its proper place, as a visitor, not a resident. A chapter, not the whole book. Imagine standing outside in the rain. The storm feels endless, cold, overwhelming, but deep down you know it will end. You don't have to control the rain, only endure it with grace. And before long, the sky begins to clear. That's what the Stoics teach, not to avoid the storm, but to remember that no storm is eternal. Sometimes we cling to suffering because we fear what's next. Other times we resist change because we've grown used to pain. But Stoicism reminds us gently, everything moves on, even the hardest parts of ourselves. Change isn't the enemy, it's the very nature of life. And so, when you find yourself in a dark season, remember the wisdom of Seneca. Let time work its quiet miracle. Don't rush to fix everything. Don't panic when the night feels long. Instead, breathe, endure, trust, because one day you'll look back on the very thing that once broke you and realize it shaped you. The lesson is simple, but not easy. Don't let a bad moment define a good life. Don't let one chapter convince you the story is ruined. Everything is temporary, especially the parts you thought would never end. And that's where peace begins, not in avoiding pain, but in understanding its passing nature. You are not your worst day. You are not your hardest moment. You are the calm that waits beyond the storm. 4. Your worth is not measured by external things. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. In a world that constantly measures value through numbers, followers, income, titles, likes, it's easy to forget who we truly are. We begin to believe our worth depends on our success, our image, or the things we own. But Stoicism offers a liberating truth. You are not what you have, you are what you are. Epictetus, once a slave who became one of the greatest Stoic teachers, spoke from experience when he said true wealth lies in having few wants. For the Stoics, wealth was never about accumulation. It was about character. It was about peace of mind. And above all, it was about independence from things that lie outside your control. The world may give you applause or ignore you. You may gain fortune or lose it all overnight. But none of that changes who you are at your core. Your dignity, your wisdom, your courage, your integrity, these are the only things that truly belong to you. Everything else is borrowed, fleeting, and beyond your grasp. The Stoics warned against the illusion of external validation. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor surrounded by luxury, wrote in his journal, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions." In other words, grounding your self-worth in the opinions of others or in achievements you can't fully control is a recipe for insecurity. So how do we find solid ground? The answer, according to Stoicism, lies in virtue, in being honest, kind, just, courageous, and wise. These are choices you make daily. No one can take them from you, and unlike fame or wealth, they don't fade with time. Think of a tree. Its strength isn't found in the ornaments hung on its branches, it's in the depth of its roots. In the same way, your value isn't found in surface-level decorations, but in the strength of your inner principles. This perspective is more important today than ever before. In an age of social media, we are constantly invited to compare ourselves, to feel less than someone else's highlight reel. Someone is always richer, more attractive, more popular. And yet, none of those comparisons touch the realm of virtue. No filter can cover a lack of character. No title can replace kindness. The Stoics would remind us that being good matters more than looking successful. You can lose your job but remain honorable. You can be overlooked by society and still be just. You can have nothing and still be free if your soul is whole. Epictetus put it simply, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because personal growth often comes with rejection. Virtue isn't always glamorous, but it is the only path to inner peace. Imagine two people. One is wealthy, admired, and envied, but internally fragile, addicted to approval, and constantly afraid of loss. The other is modest in lifestyle, unknown to the world, but grounded in courage and clarity. Which one is truly free? Which one sleeps peacefully at night? Which one is prepared for anything life may bring? When you define yourself by external things, you give away your power. You become a hostage to outcomes, to trends, to the opinions of others. But when you define yourself by virtue, you stand on unshakable ground. You are no longer chasing status, you are living truth. And here's the most powerful part. Your virtue is always within reach. It doesn't matter where you come from, how much money you have, or what people say about you. What matters is how you act when no one is watching. How you treat others when you gain nothing from it. How you carry yourself in the face of adversity. The lesson is timeless. Do not let the world measure your worth. Do not let status, wealth, or recognition define you. Measure yourself by what you control, your choices, your values, your inner clarity. Because at the end of the day, all the noise fades. The applause dies down. The trophies gather dust. But your character remains, and that is where true worth lives. 5. Adversity is training, not punishment. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. Life will test you. Unexpected losses, sudden changes, disappointments, betrayal. No one escapes these trials. And when they arrive, the first instinct for many is to ask, why me? But the Stoics offered a radically different perspective. They didn't see adversity as punishment, but as practice, as preparation, as transformation. To Marcus Aurelius, even obstacles had value. In fact, they were essential to progress. The very things that seemed to block the path often were the path. That's why he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is not just a clever line. It's a mindset, a way of living. The Stoics believed life was not meant to be easy. It was meant to be meaningful. And meaning is often forged in the fire of hardship. Seneca, a wealthy philosopher who lost nearly everything, said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." To the Stoics, pain was not a curse to be avoided, but a weight to be lifted. Each trial, each loss, each rejection, these weren't signs of failure. They were invitations to become stronger, wiser, more resilient. Imagine a soldier who never trains, who never faces discomfort. The first real battle would destroy him. Now imagine a warrior who embraces the harshness of training, who willingly runs toward challenge. When the real battle comes, he doesn't crumble, he's ready. Life is that battlefield, and adversity is our training ground. The Stoics didn't seek suffering for its own sake. They didn't enjoy pain, but they saw that true character is revealed not in comfort, but in crisis. It's easy to be kind when everyone treats you well. It's easy to be patient when life goes your way. But who are you when the world turns upside down? That's the real test. When hardship comes, we have two choices. We can shrink, complain, blame the world, and stay stuck. Or we can stand tall, face it head on, and ask, what is this trying to teach me? How can I grow from this? What part of me is being strengthened by this pain? Every challenge is an invitation to develop a virtue. Sickness teaches patience, loss teaches gratitude, failure teaches humility, betrayal teaches discernment, loneliness teaches self-reliance. These aren't easy lessons, but they are lasting ones. Think of your life like a forge. Adversity is the heat. You are the iron. Without heat, the iron remains brittle, but under intense pressure, it becomes something unbreakable. You are being shaped, not shattered. The Stoics also believed that resistance, fighting reality, only makes pain worse. Instead of saying, this shouldn't be happening, they asked, how can I respond with wisdom? This subtle shift changes everything. It gives you back your power. It turns you from a victim into a student, from someone being punished into someone being trained. It's also important to remember that hardship is universal. No one escapes it, not kings, not philosophers, not you, not me. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world, yet he faced war, loss, betrayal, and illness. And still he wrote calmly, with grace, choosing to see meaning in every storm. So what about you? What if this setback isn't here to break you, but to build something inside you? What if this pain is the beginning of your strength? What if life is not against you, but is training you for something deeper? When you shift your mindset in this way, everything changes. You stop resenting difficulty. You start using it. You start becoming who you were meant to be, not in spite of your struggles, but because of them. The lesson is powerful and simple. Adversity is not the enemy. It is the gym for the soul, the classroom of life, the pressure that reveals your shape. So the next time life knocks you down, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask instead, what strength is this trying to build in me? Because you are not being punished. You are being prepared. 6. Time is your most precious resource. Don't waste it. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Seneca. Time slips through our fingers more easily than we realize. It cannot be stored. It cannot be bought back. And once it's gone forever. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, offered us one of the most powerful reminders of all. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. These words cut deep. So we often think life is too short. But the truth is, life feels short only when we don't use it well. The Stoics regarded time as our most sacred and non-renewable resource. Money lost can be earned again, status can rise and fall, even physical possessions can be replaced. But time, once a moment passes, it vanishes into eternity. That's why to the Stoics, wasting time was the greatest form of self-neglect. Seneca asked, how many days have you lost to meaningless distraction? How many hours have you spent chasing things that added nothing to your soul? It's a question worth asking ourselves daily. We live in an age of endless stimulation, scrolling, clicking, refreshing. We are always busy, but rarely present. The danger here isn't just distraction, it's erosion. The erosion of our days, our focus, our sense of purpose. The Stoic approach is a call to live deliberately, to treat every day not as something to get through, but as something to be honored. Each sunrise is a gift. Each conversation is a chance. Each quiet moment is an invitation to reflect, grow, and align ourselves with what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, urged himself with quiet urgency, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This wasn't morbid. It was a call to wake up, to shake off sleepwalking through life, to stop postponing the things that truly matter: love, purpose, virtue, connection. We often say, "I'll start tomorrow," but Stoicism reminds us that tomorrow is not promised. All you have is now. So live now, not in panic, not in haste, but in fullness. This doesn't mean rushing through life or living recklessly. It means living with awareness, doing what matters, saying what needs to be said, being the person you know you can be, not someday, but today. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need all the answers. What you need is presence, courage, and the willingness to stop wasting time on what doesn't serve your highest self. Think about how much of our time is consumed by things outside our control, worrying about other people's opinions, chasing status, holding grudges, numbing ourselves with distractions. The Stoics would say, let it go. Not because those things aren't tempting, but because your time is too valuable to be spent on what doesn't make you better. Seneca wrote about people who act as if they'll live forever, who postpone reflection, who delay growth, who waste years in pursuit of things that vanish in an instant. He warned, "You are living as if destined to live forever. Your own frailty never occurs to you. You don't notice how much time has already passed, but squander it as though you had a full and overflowing supply." If that feels familiar, it's because we all fall into that trap. But we can also choose differently. We can choose to wake up earlier, to be more present with those we love, to pursue meaning over distraction, to spend less time scrolling and more time connecting with others and with ourselves. We can choose to read, to think, to create, to forgive, to listen, to love deeply. Most importantly, we can choose to live today not as a rehearsal, but as the main event, because it is. The Stoic lesson is not to fear death, but to let it teach you how to live. When you remember the finite nature of time, you naturally begin to treat each day as sacred. You stop waiting for one day and start living this day as the only one that matters. Live today as if it were your last, not in a frantic rush, but with deep presence, with full attention, with gratitude and grace. Don't waste what you cannot get back. Be good, regardless of what others do. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Marcus Aurelius. In a world full of reaction, judgment, and hurt, the Stoic path calls for something radically different: inner steadiness. A quiet, immovable strength that does not depend on how others behave, but on the values you choose to live by. Marcus Aurelius reminds us the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. These words are not about vengeance at all. They are about freedom, freedom from being shaped by the cruelty, pettiness, or negativity of others. The Stoics believe that your virtue is yours alone. It is independent of the noise, the chaos, the unfairness of the world around you. You don't need anyone's approval to be kind. You don't need perfect circumstances to act with integrity. And you certainly don't need to lower yourself to meet others in their anger, gossip, or selfishness. To be Stoic is to choose virtue over vengeance, dignity over drama, and principle over pride. Seneca wrote, "It is the mark of a noble soul to act with kindness even toward those who are unkind." That's not weakness, it's mastery. It means you are so rooted in your character that no storm can sway you. You live not by reaction, but by intention. The modern world often tells us, don't let anyone disrespect you, give them what they deserve, fire back. But the Stoic message is the opposite. Don't let anyone pull you out of your character. Stay true to who you are. It's easy to be kind when others are kind. It's easy to be honest when others are watching. But the Stoic challenge is to remain good even when it goes unnoticed, unreturned, or even ridiculed. Why? Being good is not something you do for others. It's something you do for yourself. It is your path, your peace, your power. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The way people treat you is outside your control, but how you respond, that's fully yours, and that's where your freedom lies. Think of all the energy we waste trying to change people, prove ourselves, get even, or win approval. Stoicism tells us to drop all that. Instead, focus on your own actions, your own tone, your own truth. This is where real influence begins, not by controlling others, but by mastering yourself. Seneca once said, "A good character once established is not easily overthrown." But building that character takes daily practice, especially in moments of conflict, disrespect, or betrayal. Those are your tests. Those are your chances to prove who you really are. Epictetus put it simply, who is your master? The one who has power over what you want or fear. If someone's bad behavior controls your emotions, they own you. But if you stay calm, stay true, stay kind, you own yourself, and no one can take that from you. We don't become better by mirroring the worst in others. We become better by holding the line, by living again and again by the principles we believe in. This doesn't mean allowing yourself to be mistreated. It means setting boundaries without bitterness, speaking truth without cruelty, and walking away without losing your peace. The Stoics were clear. The reward for virtue is not applause. It's not praise. It's the peace that comes from knowing you did the right thing, even when it was hard, because nothing is more powerful than someone who lives with quiet conviction. So the next time someone tests your patience, tries to pull you into pettiness, or wrongs you unfairly, pause, breathe, remember who you are, and then choose to be good regardless of what they do. Not because they deserve it, but because you do.